You dine together. He divulges an intelligence information to you, an alleged plot to oust you or something. But didn't it concern you as a Deputy National Commissioner of the South African Police Service that a civilian comes to you as a boss of an institution and gives you an information about your intelligence services? Did it not concern you?
What concerns me is the fact that he was telling me something about I know. And in that regard, I work with information. I've got people who are my informers, I have people who are whistleblowers. I deal with information. So even if I am concerned, the only thing I can do is to either speak to the National Commissioner, or where the National Commissioner is involved, I'll speak to the Deputy Ministers.
No. We understand clearly that crime intelligence has got what they call community intelligence, where they use the information to detect a crime. They use information they get from community members, which is fair. This is a different discourse, General. This person comes to you as a Deputy National Commissioner, brings an information about your intelligence services, not about what is happening in the community that will help you execute the mandate that you have. So this is different. I agree. It is important that you work with communities, get information, but this is different. A civilian comes to you, gives you information about your intelligence services. Did it not concern you that how did a civilian get hold of this kind of information as a person given a responsibility to manage and control the police service?
No, it didn't concern me.
Why?
Because when someone comes to you with information that helps your cause, you do give attention to such information. I cannot be worried about the fact that this person is giving me information that is actually saying to me, look over your back. I can't be worried about such.
So intelligence formation of the country that is lingering among community members doesn't worry you as a Deputy National Commissioner. Is that what you are saying?
That is the most concern that we must raise within the intelligence structure.
I'm talking about you, General, as a Deputy National Commissioner. So it does not concern you that an information that is supposed to be in the custody of intelligence services is lingering around community members. It does not confirm. Is that your evidence that you are not concerned when intelligence information is lingering around community members?
Of course, I am concerned if ever a member of the public will have information, in particular documents that belong to intelligence. It is a cause for concern. But if it is information that relates to the security that affects me, or you're just giving me information as a whistleblower, it happens on a daily basis from many angles of the...
To proceed with this dissolution, given what you have just told us.
Personally, and looking at what the South African Police Service has embarked on themselves, they embarked on a journey to dissolve the task teams and to make sure that they establish specialized units that will take care of, including, among others, political killings.
No. General, we are talking about one letter here. I hear you are bringing an overall approach over task teams. Here, what brings us here today is the letter of the 31st of December 2024. And that letter only speaks about the political killings testing. So, you are saying, in your view, political killings are still prevalent. And the political killings testing has done a tremendous job in reducing political killings in South Africa. Now, the question still is, do you think then, therefore, that it's a proper, well-calculated decision, given these circumstances, to dissolve it?
Honorable Chair, I'm saying still, they said to the House Portfolio Committee Chairperson that they have achieved the purpose for which they were established. They have stabilized all the districts except only eThekwini district. Now, we can't keep them only to attend to only one district now. I said yesterday, go to El Dorado Park, go to Westbury, go to Hanover Park, Manningberg, all those dangerous areas, Cape Flats, where people are dying every day. Let us refocus the energy and the resources and the budget to where they are needed. And we don't say political killing trustee must die. We're saying we have now come up with a work study that says they must fall under murder and robbery unit so that the whole country can have a benefit of the expertise to have. And it's an issue that I wish I could spend time on it to clarify so that finally South Africans can get to hear the truth. And allow me, Chair, to deal with this Senzo Meyiwa issue. When after Senzo Meyiwa was killed, I was the head of the Hawks in Gauteng. I was at home in Pretoria. I got a call from the acting provincial commissioner, who was General Musikili at that time. I was at home at night. I didn't even know about the shooting. And it was around about 11 at night. And remember, Senzo was killed after 7:30, around about 7:30, early evening. And what I had to do as the head of the Hawks was to call a team to say, let's meet there. It's just like when a serious crime has been committed, we move, we go there. And what happened there is that as we moved, all of us, we got there. I ran straight to hospital. And simply because of the fact Senzo Meyiwa is a national key point. It's a national asset. It's not ordinary member where someone can say someone has been gunned out, then as the head of the house, I'll also go there. But because it was a national goalkeeper, we all had to react, and we went. Even General Musikili, who was the acting provincial commissioner, we all went and we met at the police station, at the hospital. When I got to the hospital, it was packed, even in the passage, even in the ward where he was lying motionless. And everybody was crying there. Even myself, I could not make my way through into the ward. I saw him lying inside there, but from outside the ward. And then I realized that it won't work. I then said to General Musikili, I will go to the house where now the investigation must start, because now the investigation process had to start. Now, for the investigation process to start, we then had to go to the scene of crime. When we get to the house where it happened, it was packed. Outside the yard, inside the yard, there was up and down movement in the house. I'm well trained when it comes to investigations. I'm 37 years doing what I'm doing. The very first thing is to take charge of the scene of crime. Mine was to give instructions and say, please, secure the scene, preserve the scene. This is a scene of crime. Now the team had to make sure that they remove everybody on site to outside the yard so that it can be cordoned. The scene of crime can be cordoned. Remember, I arrived late at night when this thing happened, almost after 7:30, and the scene was already processed by the officials. It was processed, cleaned. The experts have done their work. Now, when I arrived there, I also found MEC Sizakele Nkosi Malobane and other generals were there. Now, we come here as a fact-finding team. We come in here, we knock, we sit down in the sitting room. It's clean, there's no blood, there's no spotty that you can see, or everything is in place. And then we sit, we listen, we ask questions. What happened? This one explained, this one explained, this one explained, this one explained. This is a normal course of attending to crime scene. The MEC was there also, we were all listening. And then from there, General Musigiri and them arrived from hospital to join us. There were other generals, including General Musigiri. We all listened. And thereafter, it was a question of, General, are you taking it or am I taking it? As a Hawks, do I take the matter to run with, or are you taking it? Then she said to me, the National Commissioner, who was Maria Pierre, then said or suggested that this matter must be investigated by a team of experienced investigators. Now that already took us out of the way. Now we stood by when they made a press conference, a press briefing at that time that says, there will be a team appointed to investigate and will run with this matter. We were standing by, no longer involved in the case. That is why even today, when this matter has been testified, I haven't submitted a statement. I haven't submitted never been called as a witness. It's almost at the end because I was not involved. I've seen messages that says I took $1 million and I did this, I shifted the firearm order. No. At what point would I have done that? So I just wanted to say to South Africans, I am not involved in the Senzo Meyiwa case. I've never done anything wrong. And there have been many teams, more than 10 different teams that were set to investigate this thing. I've done nothing that can actually cause the matter to be, not to be successful.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just give one because there's a warning.
Gone past supply chain. Now, the next level to complain if there is an issue was the logical thing to go to the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service. This is what he did. He went to the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, which in that case, I was acting in that capacity.
Then, the meeting that you had with Brown Mokhotsi, discussing some of the issues, you said Brown Mokhotsi, you knew him from Northwest, he's an activist. Then you said yourself, you don't belong to any political party. But you are meeting this, you met this activist and you knew Brown Mokhotsi because he's an activist. Am I correct?
Yes, I said that. Not because he's an activist. I know him as an activist in Northwest.
Then most of the meetings that you held, either Brown Mokhotsi or Kat Matlala, were work-related meetings, surely.
In relation to Brown, I would say work-related. But if a person says, I'm coming, are you in Camps Bay, I'll come and greet you, because that's the only time I met him. And the second time, when he said, I'm in Gauteng, I'm coming to consult. Are you around? And I said, yes, I'm at my lawyer's as well. Okay, I'll see you when I break, and then we just greet.
The work-related ones now, the outcomes of the work-related meetings, have you ever reported them to your senior, who happens to the National Commissioner? Have you ever reported the outcomes of those meetings? No. And reported that you met so and so because of this and that?
Firstly, I indicated yesterday that the moment I got these calls from Brown Mokhotsi, I said to the National Commissioner, there's a strange call that I found from a person who called himself Brown. But he was telling me more about me being careful that crime intelligence is following me and they are working on me and all those things. And then he said, no, continue meeting him, and where possible, you can even record him. But it didn't go to a point where I recorded him.
You know, I didn't hear clearly. Can you repeat?
But it must be, every office must be as prolific as possible. I think even when you look at the FBI, when a case is open, you are sure that it will be attended to. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to rely on the PKTT to be called someone from KZ. So I'm just saying, personally, I feel that we need to equip all the offices of the murder and robbery units. Now, when the minister started, the notes that I made in one of the meetings, the minister says, Minister Mtuno expressed his concerns regarding the political killings task team. He suggested that instead of establishing separate units to focus on different types of murders, the organization should consider establishing a single integrated unit under the umbrella of murder and robbery unit. This unit would operate nationally, ensuring a more streamlined and coordinated approach to address such crime across the country. Now, this is the minister, and at that time, the minister had just arrived. It was just a big feedback sessions. We were discussing these issues in a boardroom with all the other executives. Then this is the National Commissioner's response. And I must hasten to also indicate that what was said to be closed is not the PKTT alone. There was also an inspectorate. The inspectorate, the minister said here that Minister Mkumi cited that legislative imperative is what we would be worried about when designing organizational structure. We need to be concerned of economic growth, capable state, and removing poverty, as well as intervening. In what is causing the disclosure of trade, you must also adhere to the mandate of the 7th administration in addressing corruption and that and that and that. Now, Minister Mkulu required a narrative between the relationship between provincial commissioners, deputy national commissioners. He further guided the relationship linkage by having dotted lines to indicate of those that are directly reporting to the national commissioner. Now, General Masemola clarified to the minister on the relationship between provincial commissioners and the DNCs. Now, this is the in-depth meeting, but specifically what I want to talk about, on the issue of disbandment of the inspectorate, General Masemola indicated that it can be done, but to implement it would come with the cost implementing such as providing of Section 35 to some members. But it is something that has to be done. That is the National Commissioner. General Masemola clarified to the minister that the political team, the political task team, is not a formal unit, but rather a task team. He explained that the primary objective of this task team was to evolve into a dedicated murder and robbery unit. As such, it does not appear on the organizational structure, given that it is a temporary structure designated for specific purpose and not a permanent operational unit. So as far as I'm concerned, the National Commissioner was actually in agreement from the very onset that this was just not meant to be a permanent structure. It is just a task team. So I'm saying, just like when the minister spoke about the murder and robbery unit, when he introduced the subject, even General Kumalo in his presentation in Parliament, he says the docket will be taken to the murder and robbery unit where they need to be investigated. So it was that what was just agreed upon. It is not motivated by any relationship with Matlala or Bram Mukhosi, not at all. It is a subject that has been a subject matter on the table with signatures. But you see,